Assalamu alaikum, guys. I don't know if there is something in the air or what is going on, but recently my Instagram inbox has been inundated with DMs from women from all over the world, from Alaska to Australia to everywhere, to the Philippines, everywhere, from women saying that they are getting married to a Jordanian man. And they want to know what the process of getting married in Jordan is. Like, they're coming to Jordan to marry him. And for the sake of my sanity, I'm going to record a video about exactly what you need and what the process, what's going to happen to you when you get married. Because these Jordanian fiancés don't seem to be very good at explaining bureaucratic things in English to their fiancés. So first, I have to make myself a coffee. So you can come with me and make the one with me. This is the good stuff. Oops. Got my notes. The first thing to explain is that in Jordan, you don't have civil marriages. It's all religious, whether you're Christian or whether you're Muslim. I've touched on this before in videos. If you're Christian, your husband is Muslim, it doesn't matter. You can still get married. It's still going to happen in a Shariah court though, and it will still happen by a sheikh. And it says clearly on our marriage certificate that I am Christian, my husband is Muslim. And it's legally binding, full stop. Wherever you are in the world, it's recognised. It is a legally binding contract that you sign. I'm not going to get into the details of the contract because I don't want to, and I don't want to get wrapped up in talking about divorce and stuff, because I feel like that's another video and I'd have to go and get educated on that, and I don't want to. I'm just talking about what's going to happen when you get married. So the first thing that you are going to want to do is go and get everything that you've got translated. So I assume that I had all my birth certificates and everything here, and I got all of them translated, had a copy of my passport and everything. So every document that I had was translated into Arabic and notarized. One of the first things that we did was we rang up the British Embassy and we booked an appointment, went down there with all of my documents and everything and said, we want to get married, what do we do? And there I had to sign a declaration to say that I was not married in the UK or anywhere else. This is it. I'm not going to show you in detail because it's private. But I say that I do solemnly and sincerely declare that I have not previously contracted any form of marriage, and I think that there is no impediment or kindred or alliance to a marriage between myself and my husband, which is basically saying I'm not related to him in any way. Okay, so that's also what we had to do. We also had to go and get a special blood test to prove that we had we didn't have, our blood isn't too close together, like we're not like first cousins or something like that, or sisters and brother, I guess. So you have to have a blood test to prove that you're not your kids aren't going to have 6 fingers, right? You also have to go down to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I believe, to get permission to get married, or permission to request to get married, I guess. And then once you've got all of those details together, and actually they'll be super helpful for you anyway, like guiding you and telling you what you need to do. But once you've got all of those documents together, your husband will probably sort out a lot of that without you needing to worry about it. Once you've got all of that stuff, then you go down to the Shariah court. And I don't think that we made an appointment. I feel like we just rocked up one day when we had all the documents. We were like, let's just go and do it. And we had a hitch when we got there because we didn't have a translator, and the sheikh, the judge, he refused to accept my husband as a translator. So we went outside and we were calling, is anyone here speak English? And we found a guy to come and translate. But actually my husband ended up doing most of the translating anyway. So, but he was a witness as well. We also had his uncle as a witness, so you need a witness. And then, so we sat, it was very kind of informal. The sheikh was on the other side of it was like in his office. And we just sat down with him, and he asked me, do I know what I'm doing? Am I aware of what's going on? He was very, very cautious to make sure that I knew what was going on, to make sure that I wasn't being tricked or something. He was really looking out for me. And then he asked me to repeat some, I think there was a verse that I had to repeat. I don't know if that's true or not. I think that I had to repeat a verse after him. So he was saying like a couple of words at a time and I was repeating them. And then, you know what, it might not have been a verse at all. It might have just been like I was saying, I do solemnly declare that I want to marry him. I do, kind of thing. But there was a bunch of stuff that he told me to repeat after him. And I had it translated for me at the time. It was all a bit overwhelming, to be honest. And it's hard to be like flicking between, like people are flicking between the languages and things. It all gets like, things get lost in translation. But I had to repeat after the sheikh a bunch of stuff. And then he asked me, do you want to put anything in your contract? And I didn't really understand the concept of the marriage contract, and there's a lot of misinformation online about this that I've seen. Lots of people contradicting each other. People are saying that you can put in your marriage certificate that he can't take a second wife, and other people are saying that that's stupid, like because that contradicts Islam, because in Islam he can take a second wife if it's okay with you. What people use it for within the society, the reason why you can put something into your marriage contract is to say, for instance, I want to work, or I want every Thursday to go to my mum's. I want to continue with my education. Things like that. They're very simple things, we would imagine, but they're put in place, the women put them in place to make sure that their rights are upheld. But if it's something that interferes with Islam, I really don't believe that they put it in the contract. Hi guys, I'm just editing here and I want to make it really clear what the significance, the social significance of having this part of the marriage contract is. If you imagine that a lot of people are marrying through a traditional route and they don't really know their husband very well when they get married, this really gives them the opportunity to make sure that their rights are upheld, and anything that maybe has been discussed, you know, between her and her husband, but not really, like, it solidifies it in the contract, and she has that reassurance that her rights are going to be upheld in the contract. So it's less useful for us foreigners, and maybe we put less emphasis on it, although a lot of people get really hung up on it, not because I think they just don't understand it, or they don't know what they're allowed to put in it or what it's for. I feel like it's more for those kinds of cases, and you shouldn't really worry about it too much as a foreigner. So for me personally, I was like, nah, I'm not going to put anything. Here, when you get married, the husband will say how much money he will give you if you get divorced. And people can be very romantic about it, and they put, I will give you 10 million dinars because it will never happen and I will never divorce you. And then other people put actual, like, realistic numbers. I don't even know what we put in ours, but that's another thing that he's going to ask. So it's all very practical. It's not like, oh, you think you go down to the Shariah court to get married and it's like all a bit dodgy or something like that. It's not. And that is it. Then we signed and that was it. So my wedding certificate is very beautiful, if not a little bit earmarked. Looks like that. Again, I'm not going to show you too close up, but here's you see it's all like goldy and things. So yeah, and that's all in Arabic, it's not in English. I didn't have to do anything else then. I didn't have to go and tell my embassy that I had got married or anything like that. It's just, I'm just married. And then after that, you can get your visa, your Iqama. It's a residency that's renewed every year, and then after 5 years, you can apply to be a Jordanian citizen and get a passport, which is this year for me. This year is my 5th year in Jordan, so in October I will be applying for that. And you will get a family book, which is a blue book. I can't find mine. You're meant to have it on you at all times. Like, I've looked through the whole house and I don't know where it is. But you'll get this little blue book for your new family. And then when you have a kid, every time you give birth, you go and get their name put in, like, get it written in that book. And then wherever you are, you can prove that this is my family and these are my people. So that's the process. So if you are recently engaged, then mabruk. And just to be crystal clear, that means, like, you go to the Sharia court and you get married. That's like a civil marriage, okay? That's the same kind of thing where you have your ceremony in front of your family at a later date. But the actual marriage, the legal marriage, happens in the Sharia court. And in case you are interested, this is what the wedding ring looks like, usually. This is like a fairly typical wedding ring. Right, a big chunk of gold. And engagement rings are fairly new, I think. Usually what would happen is that the wedding ring would go on the engagement finger, and then when you get married, you swap it over. I wear this. It's not an engagement ring, but I wear it like an engagement ring. So, don't know if that's interesting. I don't know why I am sharing that with you. Anyway, I hope that was useful in some way. If you have any more questions, please let me know. My Nescafe has gone cold, so I think that means that that's the end of the video. Ma'asalama. Bye, guys.